Hey everyone, ready for a deep dive into something that could totally change your business?
I'm ready.
We're talking about those can't miss offers, the kind that helped Alex Hormozi rake in millions.
Grand Slam offers, right?
You got it. We're really digging into his book, $100 Offers today.
Yeah, what I like about Hormozi is that he's not just some guru. He actually built his businesses using these strategies himself.
Exactly. And he starts by tackling something I'm sure we've all faced, that feeling of always having to lower your prices.
The commoditization trap, right? Like you're stuck competing on price alone.
Yeah, like a race to the bottom. It's exhausting. So how do we escape that?
Well, Hormozi says we need to shift our mindset. Instead of being price-driven, we need to become value-driven.
Okay, sounds good in theory, but how do we actually do that?
He uses this example of a software company that helps advertising agencies.
Okay.
Most agencies, they all offer pretty much the same thing, right? Like lead generation services. We'll get you X number of leads.
Yeah, I've heard that pitch a million times.
Yeah, exactly. It's so common that they end up in this brutal price war.
Because everyone's seen as interchangeable, so the only differentiator is price.
Exactly. But this software company, they help these agencies totally revamp their offer. Instead of just promising leads, they guarantee results.
So it's like, we'll get you X number of customers.
Exactly. And that's huge. Clients are willing to pay a premium for those guaranteed results because the value proposition is so much stronger.
Okay, that makes sense. But what kind of impact are we talking about here? Are we talking like a little bump in profit or a real game changer?
Oh, this is a game changer. Hormozi talks about how an agency could spend the same amount on advertising, but get 2.5 times more leads and close 2.5 times more deals. That means they're not just making a slightly bigger profit, they're quadrupling their upfront fees.
Wow, that is a game changer. It's like they become the go-to expert in their niche because they're not just talking the talk, they're delivering.
And here's the really cool part. This increased pricing lets them reinvest, creating what Hormozi calls the virtuous cycle of price.
Say more about that.
Think about it now. They have more money to hire the best people, invest in better tech, and ultimately get even better results, justifying even higher prices.
It's like they break free from that race to the bottom and set their own terms.
Exactly.
This Grand Slam offer idea is really making me think, but before we go too far, Hormozi mentions a misconception that I think holds people back. This idea that you need to be in a hot market to be successful.
Yeah, like you need to be the next big thing in tech or something.
Exactly. So is that true?
Not at all, actually. Hormozi says you don't need to chase the latest trend. He tells us a story about his friend Lloyd, who was in the newspaper industry. Talk about a dying market, right?
Yeah, not exactly what you think of when you hear entrepreneur these days.
Right. So what did Lloyd do? He got creative. When the pandemic hit, he pivoted and started an automated mask-making company. Within 5 months, he was making millions of dollars a month.
Wow. Same entrepreneur, different market, completely different outcome.
Exactly. It's not about chasing trends. It's about finding a market with real pain points you can solve.
And people who can actually afford your solution.
Right. Absolutely. Hormozi calls that massive buying power. And it's key. He gives this example of a time management course. A generic one might only sell for $19, but niche it down to something like time management for B2B power tools sales reps. And suddenly you can charge $1,000 or even $2,000.
Because those sales reps are dealing with much larger deals, so their time is way more valuable.
Exactly. That's riches in the niches, as Hormozi puts it. It's about being the absolute best solution for a very specific someone, not trying to be everything to everyone.
And that laser focus lets you tailor your offer and charge a premium price.
Exactly.
So we've talked about escaping that commoditization trap and finding those profitable niches.
Right.
But how do we actually figure out what a premium price is for what we're offering? Because just putting a high price tag on something doesn't automatically make it worth it.
Absolutely right. This is where Hormozi really digs into the psychology of pricing. It's not just about the numbers. It's about how much value people perceive something to have. He tells this funny story about when he created a program for gym owners, a $42,000 per year program.
Okay.
And his own father was like, $42,000.
Yeah, I can see why his dad might have been a little skeptical about that price tag, especially for gym owners who are probably already dealing with a ton of expenses.
Exactly. But here's how Hormozi turned it around. He asked his dad, if I could guarantee you an extra $239,000 in profit this year, would you pay $42,000? And suddenly that $42,000 doesn't seem so bad, right?
That's a no-brainer. It's not about the cost. It's about the return on investment.
Exactly.
Yeah.
If you can show that your offer will deliver way more value than it costs, the price becomes almost irrelevant.
Because you're not just buying something, you're investing in something.
Precisely. And that's a core idea behind what Hormozi calls the virtuous cycle of price. When you charge a premium, you can reinvest that money into making your offering even better, which leads to happier clients, even better results, and then you can even justify charging higher prices later.
It's like this upward spiral of value and results.
Exactly.
But how do we actually quantify and build that irresistible value into what we're offering?
So Hormozi breaks it down with something he calls the value equation, and it's all about 4 core drivers.
Okay, I'm intrigued. Break it down for me.
The first one is pretty simple, the dream outcome. It's what your client ultimately wants to achieve, right? Like with the gym owner example, their dream outcome might be to increase revenue, attract more clients, maybe build a recognizable brand.
Makes sense. But I'm guessing it's not enough to just say, hey, we'll help you achieve your dreams. You need more, right?
You got it. The second driver is the perceived likelihood of achievement. It's not enough to say, we'll help you double your revenue. You've got to show them it's possible. That's where social proof comes in. Testimonials, case studies, results you can back up with data, anything that builds credibility.
It's like you're eliminating that voice of doubt that says, yeah, but will this really work for me?
Exactly.
Yeah.
Now, the next 2 drivers are what Hormozi calls the boo factors. Perceived time delay and perceived effort and sacrifice.
Okay, those sound less fun. I have a feeling I know where this is going. No one wants to wait forever to see results, and no one wants to feel like a full-time job to get there.
Right. We all want that magic pill solution. But the reality is, most things worth having take time and effort. Hormozi uses this great example of Xanax versus meditation. Both offer relaxation and reduce anxiety, but Xanax is instant relief, no effort required. Meditation, on the other hand, takes consistent practice and discipline.
And a much smaller upfront cost, usually.
Exactly. So when crafting your Grand Slam offer, you want to think about how to minimize those boo factors. If you can make the journey to that dream outcome seem shorter and easier, the perceived value skyrockets.
This makes a lot of sense, but I need some actionable advice. How do we actually use this value equation in our businesses?
Hormozi lays out a really clear 5-step process. He uses a weight loss program as an example, but you can apply this to any business.
Okay.
So step 1, like we talked about, is identifying that dream outcome. For a weight loss program, it might be losing a certain amount of weight, getting fitter, feeling more confident, things like that.
Makes sense. What's next?
Step 2 is where you really put yourself in your client's shoes and list out every single problem they might have along the way. I mean everything, every obstacle, every excuse they might come up with.
So for the weight loss example, it might be things like, I don't have time to cook healthy, or I hate going to the gym, or I was given to cravings, right?
Yes.
Exactly.
The more comprehensive your list is, the better you'll be able to create valuable solutions. And that brings us to step 3, which is transforming those problems into solutions. Hormozi talks about turning every negative into a positive.
Okay.
So instead of, I don't have time to cook, it's how to make quick and healthy meals. Instead of, I hate going to the gym, it's fun and effective at-home workouts.
I love that. It's not about pretending the problems don't exist. It's about reframing them as challenges that can be overcome.
Yes. And here's where it gets fun. Step 4 is about brainstorming different ways to deliver your solutions. Think outside the box. You could do one-on-one coaching, group programs, online courses, downloadable resources, in-person workshops.
You're essentially creating a menu of options to fit different people's learning styles, budgets, and time commitments.
Exactly. And then the 5th and final step is what Hormozi calls trim and stack. You prioritize the solutions that deliver the most value to your clients with the least amount of effort from you.
Okay, so it's about working smarter, not harder, maximizing impact while also creating a sustainable business.
You got it. And one thing Hormozi really emphasizes is the power of one-to-many solutions. These are things like online courses or downloadable resources that you create once, but they can keep providing value to your clients for years.
Which frees you up to help even more people.
Exactly.
Okay, we've covered so much ground, from finding those profitable niches to crafting those high-value solutions.
It's been a lot, but good stuff.
Definitely. But let's talk about that final push, turning a good offer into something people absolutely can't resist.
Right, you want to add that wow factor.
Right.
Well, Hormozi talks about this, how to use persuasion to make your offer irresistible. He actually tells this funny story about going to Arnold Schwarzenegger's charity event.
Okay.
And apparently tickets were like $25,000 each, and only 100 were available.
Wow, talk about exclusive.
Right. And people were clamoring to get them. That's exactly what Hormozi's talking about. When something's scarce, people want it more.
Makes sense. So how do we use that in our businesses?
Well, he talks about 3 types of scarcity you can use. Limited supply, which is pretty self-explanatory.
Right, like a limited edition product or something.
Exactly. Then there's limited time, which plays on that fear of missing out.
Like a flash sale.
Yes. And finally, there's never available again. That's like the ultimate scarcity tactic.
I see. So how do we use those tactics ethically? We don't want to pressure people into buying something they don't need.
You're right, it's all about finding the right balance. One thing Hormozi suggests is using what he calls rolling cohorts. So instead of opening your program just once a year, you launch a new cohort every few months. It creates that natural urgency.
Because if you miss this one, you have to wait for the next one.
Exactly. It's a softer way to create that sense of urgency.
I like that. Okay, so what other tools do we have to make our offers irresistible?
Bonuses. Everyone loves the good bonus, and they can really increase the value of your offer.
For sure. What's the key to a good bonus?
Hormozi says you should try to address specific objections your clients might have.
Okay, so let's say someone's worried about the time commitment of my program.
Right, then you could offer a bonus like time management for busy entrepreneurs or how to delegate effectively.
So you're essentially eliminating those roadblocks, making it even easier to say yes.
Exactly. He also talks about partnering with other businesses, offering their products or services as bonuses.
Oh, I like that.
Yeah, it's a win-win. Your clients get even more value, and you can build relationships with other businesses.
Now, what about guarantees? People are investing their hard-earned money, so they want to know they're making the right decision.
Guarantees are all about reducing that risk and building trust. Hormozi actually goes beyond the typical money-back guarantee. He talks about conditional guarantees, where you guarantee a specific outcome, but only if the client holds up their end of the bargain.
Interesting, like follow the program and you'll get these results.
Exactly. He used this in his weight loss program, guaranteed satisfaction as long as they followed the plan. And it totally worked. People were more likely to sign up because it showed he was confident in his system.
It makes sense. He was putting his money where his mouth is. Now, what about those anti-guarantees he mentions? That sounds kind of counterintuitive.
It does, right. An anti-guarantee is basically saying all sales are final. It can actually be effective in certain situations, like if you're selling something really valuable, but something that's easy to replicate once you know how.
Okay, so it's like protecting your secret sauce.
Exactly. You're saying this is so valuable, it's worth the risk.
Okay, so we've crafted the offer, added bonuses, guarantees. Now it needs a catchy name, right?
Okay.
Something that grabs people's attention.
Absolutely. Hormozi calls it the art of naming your offer. And it's more important than you might think. He has this formula he calls MAGIC. It stands for magnet, avatar, goal, interval, and container.
Okay, I'm listening. Break it down.
So the magnet is like your reason why. It could be a discount, a limited time offer, something to hook them. The avatar is your ideal client. Be very specific here. The goal is the desired outcome, what they'll achieve. Interval is the time frame, like a 6-week challenge. And container is the type of program, like a boot camp, a master class.
And so it's like a headline that tells you everything you need to know at a glance.
Exactly. He gives tons of examples, but one that stands out is free 6-week Lean by Halloween challenge. You've got the magnet, it's free. The avatar is people who want to lose weight. You've got the goal, the time frame, and the program type. It's catchy and specific.
I love that. This whole process feels like a puzzle, but in a good way.
It is. And the best part is you get to experiment, try different things, and see what works best for your audience. There's no one right way to do it.
It's about finding what resonates, what clicks.
Exactly. And that's something Hormozi really emphasizes, testing and refining. Try different names, different bonuses, different guarantees, and see what your audience responds to.
It's about that constant evolution, that entrepreneurial spirit.
Exactly. And that's exciting because it means we can all create something truly extraordinary.
You know, one thing that really stands out for me from everything we've talked about is that crafting a Grand Slam offer isn't just about increasing your prices. It's about shifting your entire mindset from being price-driven to value-driven.
It's about understanding your ideal client so deeply that you can create a solution they feel like they can't live without.
It's about using those psychological principles of persuasion to craft an offer that's irresistible.
And ultimately, it's about creating something that makes a real difference in the world.
If you're ready to take your business to the next level and really make an impact, we highly recommend checking out $100 Offers by Alex Hormozi. It's a game changer. And as Hormozi says, the world needs more entrepreneurs, more magic.
So go out there and create something extraordinary.
Thanks for diving deep with us.